Halo, Dr. Dragana Trifkovic. Halo,
Yes.
good
Hello. Hello.
uh, good night at the Indonesian time. And what about you?
It's afternoon, or it's around 7:30 in Moscow now.
Okay,
7:30 p.m.
okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Dragana. Nice to meet you.
Yes, nice to
We
meet
would we would like to talk to you about your activity, but tell me first about your educational background and your institute, maybe, please.
you. Yes. Yes, I finished the Belgrade University. It's a state university in Belgrade. My education is in field of engineering and security as well. And I lead the Center for Geostrategic Studies in Serbia. I'm basically involved in in geopolitical, or we can say military conflicts, and basically in the Balkans. In Serbia, we have a problem with territory of its southern Serbian province, Kosovo. But I'm also following Middle East, Palestine, Lebanon, Iran as well. I visited a lot of countries in the Middle East, in Africa as well. And since that I am based in Serbia and in Russia, in Moscow, in Belgrade, I also follow this Serbian-Russian relationships, and I visited a lot of ex-Soviet Union countries like Kyrgyzia, Armenia, and so on.
Okay, very very wide area. It's need, I think, preparation to do it. Did you do a research first before you want to know something, or you want to know about the conflict, like maybe in Ukraine and Palestine? Do you have something to
Yes,
prepare?
but when I was younger, in my 20 ages, the NATO bombed my country, Yugoslavia. It was in
Mm.
99. They bombed us 78 days without the permission of Security Council of UN. It means they bomb us unlegally. And that is when I started to be very interested in conflicts, and I wanted to find out what is the cause, what is the reason of this conflict.
How old are you?
So,
How old are you? It was at that time. How old are you?
23 I was in that time.
Oh,
It was,
still young,
yes,
huh?
yes, 23 years in 99. I wanted to go to military to defend my country, but in that time it was in Yugoslavia. The military wasn't able for women. So then I started to research the conflicts and the reasons why we have the conflicts. So of course, I started with former Yugoslavia, and I wanted to find out why this, in the past, big country in Southeast Europe was destroyed, and who
Mm.
wanted this.
Mm.
So I realized that after the fall of Berlin Wall and after the fall of communism and Soviet Union and Warsaw Pact, Americans, the United States didn't need anymore Yugoslavia because she was a buffer zone between East and West in the time of Cold War. And after the break of Soviet Union, the US decided to take control over whole Eastern Europe. So they didn't need anymore big country like Yugoslavia. And they decided to create the wars to separate and to create small countries which are easily to control. So we had a big country, Yugoslavia. Now we have 6 new countries. It's Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, um, then Montenegro, Serbia, and North Macedonia. It's 6 new countries, and also they want to create a new one, Kosovo. It's a southern Serbian province, but in 2008 they pronounced the independence, and US recognized immediately this so-called Kosovo independence, and the other countries as well, like Germany, France, and all Western countries. And that was also illegal. The real reason why they decided to bomb Yugoslavia, especially Serbia, it was to build biggest military base in Eastern Europe. So we have now the biggest American military base. The name is Camp Bondsteel, and they opened this Camp Bondsteel on the occupied territory of Kosovo. That was the real reason for bombing the Serbia. And of course, when I started to research everything, and I also wanted to know what is going on in the Middle East, and I read a lot about the Palestine problem, and I visited Palestine in 2008. The
Okay,
guy,
sorry, Mr. Dragana. Before we are talking about Palestine, so I want to make clear. So you have interested in the conflict, especially start from your country, isn't it? And
yes,
that's because of the NATO interests. Okay.
yes, yes,
So
yes,
can you
exactly.
tell me the relation between the conflict not conflict NATO between NATO within NATO state and Russia?
Yes, we have, of course, we have now conflict in Ukraine. It's not war between Ukraine and Russia. It's a war between NATO, led by US, and Russia. And everything what happened in the Yugoslavia was only the experiment for the Russia, because they planned the same scenario for
Mm.
Russia. And of course, the main reason of this war in Ukraine, it's not Russian aggression like Western medias are trying to represent. The main reason is that NATO infrastructure came to Russian borders, and they surrendered Russia. So they were very aggressive from the time of the 90s, and this escalated because Russia didn't want to allow any more of these actions. And Russian President Putin a few times addressed to NATO that they don't want to allow these infrastructures, NATO infrastructure, but not only infrastructure, it's a weapon, it's a nuclear weapon as well, on the Russian borders. But the Western powers just ignored this and continue to implement their weapons and the technology, and to instruct the armies. They instruct the Ukrainian army, and it is very necessary to compare the situation in the Serbia between Serbia and Kosovo, and the situation between Ukraine, especially Donbass, and Russia. Because in the 90s, before the NATO started the aggression over Serbia, they accuse us that we are creating the genocide, and that we are killing the innocent Albanian civilians in the Kosovo. but it was all false. There were false accusations, and in that time, the head of OSCE in Kosovo was the American agent William Walker. He organized the special operation, which is similar totally to special operation Bucha. I wrote the article, the Bucha is New Račak. Račak is a village in the Kosovo, and it was the base of this terrorist organization, so-called Kosovo Liberation Army. The Kosovo Liberation Army was on the American list of terrorist organizations. But in 98, Americans decided to make a compromise and to start to work with this terrorist organization. This was all prepared for conflict between Albanians and Serbs in Kosovo. And in Račak, there was the base of this terrorist organization. This terrorist organization was, they killed a few policemen, Serbian policemen, and also officers. And then Serbian security forces organized a special operation. It was counter-terrorist operation, and they killed around 30, I think, terrorists. But what happened then? William Walker appeared, and he decided these terrorists were in uniforms of Kosovo, so-called Kosovo Liberation Army. He decided to change their clothes in civilian, and he invited the Western medias and Western journalists. They take photos and they publish in all Western medias. Unfortunately, in that time, we didn't have alternative medias. We didn't have internet medias. We didn't have Russian medias or some other, only Western medias, 90%. And they published everywhere that Serbian country, Serbian forces are killing the innocent civilians. And that was the reason to bomb the Serbia. It was the fake news. And after this, they occupied our territory of Kosovo, southern province, and it's still under occupation.
So
And
this sorry, Ms. Dragana. So it is not the conflict between Muslim and Russia, no?
No, it's a conflict between Albanians and Serbs. Serbs are also Orthodox, like Russians, and we have the same roots, the same religion.
Christian?
We had the same language in the past.
Yeah,
And we are
Christian Orthodox, Christian Orthodox.
Yes. And we are really close to Russians, but Serbians have their own church, Serbian Orthodox Church. Anyway, I cannot say it's a conflict between Serbs and or Orthodox and Muslims, because Albanians are not too much religious. They have this ethnic motivation. They are ethnically separatism is based on ethnicity, not on religion. But anyway, it can be considered like the war between Orthodox and Muslims. In the Bosnia and Herzegovina, we had also the war between Orthodox and Muslims. So the main reason of these wars is this American doctrine of clash of civilizations, which they recognize the differences between two nations or religion differences. They start to work on deeper these differences, and then to create the conflict on such a base.
So that
And
and I think can we say that that conflict is historical conflict, yeah, between war between West and East, and Russia is the representative of the East, and the West is United States and NATO until now. So the conflict is until now still beginning, yeah, ongoing. Is it right?
ongoing, yes,
Ongoing.
yes, yes, yes,
And
for sure, because the
mm,
Serbian people are in Europe. They are Orthodox and very close to Russians, and all the time the Europe is cooperating with us, but they want to separate us from Russians.
mm,
And they were very aggressive, our Serbians, because they consider us like little Russians on Balkans.
mm. So we are talking about Ukraine now. What about Zelensky? What do you think?
Zelensky is just an actor. He is just a puppet. He is not making any decisions. I think they
How far
choose.
he is a representative of the Ukraine people? How far?
Sorry?
How far Mr. Zelensky is a representative of the Ukraine
Oh,
people?
he came on power after Poroshenko, but Poroshenko was the similar. Problem is that Poroshenko was Jewish as well as Zelensky. So I think Zelensky now he is president from 2018, I think. But before him there was Petro Poroshenko, who was also the Jew. And the problem is that we have this really aggressive Nazi government led by Jew, which is
Mm,
totally, it's very difficult to understand. It's really difficult to understand. But the problem is that Americans instructed and they worked a long time in Ukraine. They supported this military nationalism, Ukrainian nationalism. And as you know from the history, the Ukrainians and Russians are the same people. It's no differences between Ukrainians and Russians. So I think it's the same pattern like everywhere. They want to create for example, they want to create independent Kosovo, which will be against Serbs. They want to create Pakistan against India, or to create Israel against Palestine. The idea all the time is to create the differences, then conflict, and then to manage these conflicts. This is the role of United States, and this ideology of clash of civilization and the idea no war, no money. That is why we have wars all the time everywhere.
mm.
And I understand this and uh, um, to stop these wars.
Oh, I think you have a big conclusion, yeah. So all of it is a pattern. All of they start at mid, they differentiate it, and then make a conflict between the differentiate. So
Yes, yes, exactly. And
so
we started to speak about Ukraine. I wanted to add it. I didn't
yes.
finish this cooperation with conflict in Kosovo. In Ukraine, we had a totally different situation because Albanians in Serbia, they have all right to speak their own language, Albanian. They have schools on Albanian language. They participate in the government, in the parliament, and so on. But anyway, they accuse Serbians that they are harming the rights of Albanian people. And in Ukraine, we had a totally different situation. Ukrainian government forbid the Russian language. They start attacked on Russian civilians, on civilians who speaks the Russian language. They forbid the Russian pro-Russian parties, organizations, and so on. But the West didn't say, "Oh, you are harming the rights of Russian people or Ukrainian people who speaks Russian in Ukraine." No, they didn't say anything. And then when they organized the coup in Maidan at Kiev, and they bring on power this really Nazi government. This government started aggression against these civilians in the east of Ukraine, in Donbas region. And as you know, the Western powers supply these people, these Nazis, with the weapons. They instruct them, they send them money, everything what is necessary, because they are waging the war against Russia by Ukrainian hands or by hands of these Nazis.
Mm. Okay, Dr. Dragana, some said that for Russia it is the conflict. The reason of the reason, okay, what so called invade, yeah, or the Russia invade the Ukraine because of existential threat, but in the eye of the West is we can say military industrial complex. So the two interests of one is existential threat and others is to need, yeah, to make a demand, yeah, for selling weapon. Do you think so?
But I don't think that was a Russian idea to create the conflict, to sell the weapon.
No,
This
I
idea
mean, I mean for the West. For
for
Russia,
the
it is
West, for
real.
sure. Yes,
For Russia, it is real existential threat because
yes,
they make like maybe nuclear arsenal in the border of Russia, something like
yes,
that. So
yes, exactly.
it is we can say the sign of war because
Yes,
if they put it the weapon NATO weapon in Ukraine, so the Russia will lose because it is too close to border.
yes, exactly, exactly. Yes, for Western powers, this I said, this idea, no war, no money. Of course, they are selling the weapons and supplying the weapons everywhere, and that is all the business for them, for
Mm,
sure. I'm sure. But that is not only one reason. Of course, the reason is that they want this monopolar world. I think we already live in
mm,
multipolar world, but they are not giving up, and they still want to control everything and to
mm.
be the only one power in the world which can tell everyone how they should live, to learn everyone about democracy, and even they
Okay.
don't have democracy at their home.
Okay, Dr. Drakan, it is that sad stories. Let's talk with the hope story. Okay, start with talking about your country, then move to Ukraine. Now we are talking about Palestine. You know that now there are many changing geopolitical change very rapidly.
Yes,
Before before this time, yeah, before this time, like Emirate, yeah, Arab Saudi, with United States again, the government of Bashar Assad. Now they close. You know that Damascus not admitted as a member of Arab League,
yes,
and they want Damascus to open relationship again, Iran, and also mediated with China. And we are talking about de-dollarization, etc., etc. Do you think Ukraine conflict, yeah, the goes to that? My question is, uh, do you think that Ukraine conflict will let or affect the future of Palestine independent?
yes, for sure. Yes, I was speaking about this with some Palestinians who live in Serbia, and also with Iranian Institute, which I cooperate. It's institute from Bosnia, and it's Ibn Sina Institute. And I said that I think the result of this war, and I'm sure that Russia will win this war. It's no chance,
Mm,
zero chance to be different.
Because
Of course,
Dr. Dragana, sorry, because Russia is supported by Bashar Assad, which is Syria is a part of a resistance from against Israel. So it is makes sense that if Russia win the war, so it would be increase the power of Damascus too. Do you think?
yes, for sure. For Syria, for Palestine as well, and for Serbia as well. So for us, is only hope that Russia will win, and as I said, we are sure that will happen. And after this, we can really start solving this problem on Kosovo, because without Russian help, we cannot do anything. Because Americans are not only occupied, they occupied our territory of Kosovo, but also they controlled our government, our president, our opposition, our security structures. So we don't have any chance to change something in these circumstances. That is the problem. But when this war in Ukraine will finish, the things will change rapidly, and I think the international law should be respected. So I think we should all come back to international law, to respect, to not only cheating all the time, lying and creating the conflicts. It's over. This world which we lived in from 90s till maybe 30 years, it's over. It's over.
Mm. What about the people? The people, you know that I don't know, ex country, yeah, ex USSR, USSR now become Russia. I don't know detail about each of each of a country, Kosovo, Serbia, many region, and it's
Yeah.
far away from Indonesia. You know that?
Yes.
Far away from Indonesia. Indonesia in the past is under occupation for 350 by Portuguese, Spain, British, Japan, and Dutch. We have a long history, and I think same with you. We are same have we same misery under occupation. So now I think we will maybe will happen, yeah, the new order. Do you think it would be a
Yes,
new
yes, for
order?
sure. It's happening. It's happening. It's not.
Because the theory is now unipolar become multipolar.
Yes, exactly. Yes. We don't live anymore in unipolar world. It's already monopolar world or some transition. It's sorry, already multipolar world, but we are in transition right now, and it's
Transition.
very hard because these American structures or Western structures, we cannot even say American, it's Western powers. They don't want to give up, and they are ready for everything, and it's very dangerous situation because since that they are very weak now, we don't know what they can do.
Mm.
We
Okay.
saw that they already
Mm.
started um, to create some terrorist attacks in Europe as well. This Nord Stream pipelines destructions. It was not imaginable to think about this in the past, but it's happening now. They are creating these terrorist attacks even in Europe. So it's very dangerous situation, but I'm very optimistic about the
Mm.
future, and I think there is no way to return the things.
Mm. Dr. Dragana, you live at Sarajevo, at the Sarajevo, Kosovo, no?
No, 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 no. I live the Kosovo is northern Serbian province. Did
Uh,
you say Sarajevo? It's the capital of Bosnia. It's also former Republic of Yugoslavia. I live in the Belgrade. It's the capital of Serbia, and also in Moscow. I'm between Belgrade and Moscow all the time.
oh, how long for flight with Belgrade to Russia?
It's around 3 hours.
Oh, very short, 3 hours, yeah.
Yes, it's
So
not that far away.
how about the dollar using the people of Sarajevo or Kosovo using dollar? Uh no dollar
No,
at all.
no. The in Serbia we have dinner. It's Serbian current. We have dinner and
Dinar,
also
dinar like Middle East, Arab, dinar?
yes, dinner.
Oh,
Yes, exactly. Yes, and in Kosovo they are using euros
oh,
because yes, they don't want to use our current. And
hmm,
but it's also possible to pay with dinners as well, with US dollars and so on.
hmm. It's very complicated. One state but
Yes,
different currency and different
yes,
but and different block. I think different align.
yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dragana. I think for first meeting is good. I hope that you can talk to me another story about the conflict. It's very interesting for Indonesian people to know about your story. It's new for me, but some I know that, but some I don't know detail about the history of the conflict of Sarajevo, etc., etc. We
Mhm,
Indonesia know your conflict and your countries between Muslim and Russia. Only that we don't know about
mhm.
NATO. We don't know at all
Yes.
about NATO
Oh,
because
I-
of the
I'm not surprised.
yeah, because of the mainstream media maybe, yeah, because
Yes, for sure.
our mainstream media just copy paste. We don't have a journalist to cover what really happened there. So
Mhm,
it is good to talk with you with
mhm.
the different perspective. Thank you very much, Dr. Drakana. I think we can
You're
talk
welcome.
later. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.